Let's do this one more time. Hello, everyone. Welcome to now our fourth Soundwaves podcast. My name is Marcela Herrera. Today is going to be a treat. We're doing this in the middle of the night, actually. I am waiting for our next sonographer. Her name is Latoya, and she is a Soundwave sonographer. And she also works in a hospital, and this is the night shift. And she was gracious enough to take her break during this time so that we can talk and get to know her really well. But she also works with us. And what can I say about Latoya, guys? She's one of these people that she's just this ball of personality and energy that no matter what's going on in her life, she is just a delight to talk with and work with and be with. So I know for a fact that any patient that has her doing the ultrasounds is very fortunate, and any doctor that works with her is very fortunate. So I am really excited about this. And we are recording this just a few days before it's being released. And I am in awe that we are just shy of 100 subscribers. Why is that a big deal? It's a big deal, guys, because that is difficult. This is not an easy thing to accomplish. The fact that somebody is not only watching and interested in what we're talking about and is supportive, but also decided to go along for the ride. That's not an easy thing to do, and I didn't think we would be here so quickly. So, thank you to everybody that is going along for the ride and listening. Um, this was supposed to be just a way for our company, Soundwaves, started by Denise Barbato, who is, if you don't know who she is the owner and the founder and the CEO of Soundwaves. 16 years ago, started this company, and you can go back and start by watching the first podcast or listening to it. But I wanted really to use this as an opportunity to introduce Soundwaves, but also all the individual people that make up this company, because we know how special it is. But now this gives all our OBGYN doctors out there, all our sonographers, the opportunity on their own time in a non intrusive way for you to listen and get to know us really well. And if you're needing to get high quality OBGYN services, ultrasound services in your private office, call us. We would love to work with you. So Latoya just reached to me that she is finishing up with a patient. And so we will patiently wait because that comes first. But I had to take a nap. I had been up since 4 in the morning, and this is her night shift. So I needed a nap before we started this. um, Hopefully she'll be done soon. I have an interview that I'll be doing soon, in which I'll also start talking with physicians that actually have hired us and have been working with us for quite a while, because I would love to get their insight and share that with you. Oh, oh yeah, here she is. Okay, here's Latoya. Oh, there you
Gotcha.
are. What? Hello there.
Hello.
Now I'm on your turf. I had to take a nap, girl. I was up at 4 in the morning.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, yes, yes. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. How is work?
Well, here I was thinking, okay, started off pretty mild, and then just now we got the rush. So,
Oh no, do you need to take
yeah,
a break? You
no, this
sure?
is, remember, yeah, I told you I'm going to use this as my break, so it's okay.
I owe you a lunch.
Thank
Thank
you. Thank
you.
you. No, I'm forever grateful for you. So no worries.
Oh, we feel the same way about you, by the way.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Okay, we don't have a lot of time to waste. I'm dying to know first and foremost where you grew up.
I was have a very interesting story. So I was born in the U.S. Virgin Islands of St. Croix.
Cool.
But I left there as a baby and I grew up in a small West Indian island called
Oh.
Antigua and Barbuda. And that's
Mhm.
where my mom and my dad are from. So up until a few years ago, if you ask me where I'm from, I'm going to tell you Antigua.
Okay.
I mean, if I have to say, okay, am I American or not? I am American because I was born in U.S. territory, but my culture is Antigua. That's where most of my family is. That's where I spent summers. But recently, my sister, who is she is in academia. She became the president of the university down there. So I've been
Oh,
visiting.
wow.
Yes, I've been visiting St. Thomas, which is one of the islands. So the Virgin Islands is made up of three islands: St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John. So my sister became the president of the University of the Virgin Islands, and that campus is in St. Thomas. So I've been spending a lot of time there. But yeah, I have a Caribbean background.
I knew it. I
Yeah,
knew it because I was just saying before you got on what an amazing personality you are. And
thank you.
ever since I've moved to South Florida, anybody from the islands, I get along with fabulously. But it's like anytime I'm like, where are you from? The islands. One of the islands. And so that makes complete sense to me because just
Yeah,
culturally, there's this energy, this personality. I mean, even if you're having a rough day, I would still much rather talk with you than
well,
than most anybody. Like really, really, truly, you have this spirit
thank
about
you.
you, and I'm sure your patients pick up on that right away.
Thank you. Yes, I
Yeah,
have a good rapport with my patients.
I'm sure.
And being in South Florida, it's the melting pot. So they're always so, I meet a lot of patients also from the Caribbean too, but like you, if they're let's say up north or anything like that, they find it very fascinating. Where are you from?
Me originally, I grew up in the outskirts of Chicago.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
don't know why I thought you were a native down here too. I guess that's why we get along so well too. I don't know. But I love Chicago. I visited in
Yeah.
2018 and I loved it. I mean, it was
Oh yeah.
cold.
Oh yeah. But it doesn't now. I used to say nothing beats Chicago cold, but 2 years ago I was in Quebec in
Oh,
Canada for the first time in
yeah.
December with my sister. And
Yeah.
that was a whole other level. And they all laughed at us and said, this is nothing yet.
Yeah.
And I had a heated jacket, heated socks, heated gloves. I
Mm.
was heated. I was battery operated and I could barely hold on. And
Okay, that's a different kind of cold because
that's
you're
a
from
whole
Chicago.
other
So
level because Chicago gets cold. What
yes.
month did you go again?
March. It was in March and
Oh
it was
yeah.
cold. Well, for
Mhm.
me, it's cold because
No, for sure. January
Florida.
to March.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were in the thick of it. Oof. Ooh.
Yeah.
Made me cold just
Yep.
thinking about it.
Yeah.
All right,
Yes.
that is really cool. So when did you come down to Florida, more or less?
Okay, so let me see. Nine. Yeah, nine is when I moved here, and but every summer I would go back and forth.
That would
Not
be
so.
2009, not 1909.
Oh, oh, crazy, crazy.
Okay, go
When
ahead.
when I when I was 9 years old.
Oh,
So
when you were 9 years old. I thought we were talking
yeah.
about the year. Oh, okay. When
Oh,
you
the
were nine
year.
years old.
Oh,
Oh,
so
okay,
I was
okay.
born in 77. So what's that? 2000. That was in 1988.
Oh, that's a crazy
Yeah.
time to come to South Florida.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh, you've seen some stuff.
Oh yeah, I've been here. I've lived in three counties now. So I started in Dade County, then I Then after high school, went to Broward County, and the last 10 years I've been in Palm Beach County.
Oh yeah. When I first came to South Florida, I was there in the early 90s, and
Yeah, yeah, that's
that
where.
stuff was crazy. I can't even
Yeah,
describe to people like everything you see in these documentaries about the craziness that was
yeah,
everywhere. That was
yeah. I was,
absolutely everywhere.
but I graduated high school from North Miami Senior High,
Ah, you
and
know.
yeah, there was lots of stuff.
There was lots of stuff. That's all gone now. Thank goodness. That was crazy. That was
Yeah,
really crazy. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So now I have a real sense of like where you were in Florida and all that. So tell me how you got into ultrasound. Like what
yeah,
happened there?
that's a good story. So I was going to FIU, and I was studying. I changed my major so many times, but my last major was supposed to be finance. And to be honest, I was bored
Really?
out of my, yeah,
I
yeah.
was gonna
I'm,
say
I'm,
I don't
I
see you
like
doing
math,
that.
but oh my goodness, accounting is a whole other, yeah, that's
I
not for me.
was gonna say.
But so I was in school, and then I met my husband, I had my baby, and I kind of stopped going to school. So then I needed a job. And then again, another layoff. And I was like, I'm tired of this. So when I was pregnant with my daughter, I always remember I was in the parking lot at Memorial West going to a doctor's appointment, and
Mm,
I saw a lady take this machine out of her trunk, and she was rolling it into the building, the medical office building.
mhm.
Didn't really think anything of it. But when I went to my doctor's appointment and I went for my ultrasound, it was the lady. That was her machine she was taking out of her trunk.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so cool that she could travel like that and she does her own thing. So back to me getting laid off from, and I was like, I'm tired of this. I need something more stable, 2 layoffs in the last 7 years. And I said, I want to go to ultrasound school. I remember that lady that took the machine out of her trunk,
Mhm.
and I had a phone book. So this was in what, 2006, 2005, 2006. I had a phone book in my house, and it was an old phone book. And I just flipped it, and I found a page. I flipped it for ultrasound. I just looked for ultras because I was looking for ultrasound schools. And they are a for-profit school. So they were very aggressive once I called them. They
Mm,
were like, yes, please come in. We can, do orientation. I said, well, I have my daughter with me. Bring her, bring her. So I bring her to this orientation. Well, you meet people, and they make me sign all the paperwork. I do the testing all there with she was what, 2 or 3? No, my daughter was probably 4 or 5 that time.
wow.
And they were like, okay, well, we only have 40 spots in the class, and you're going to be the last spot. I mean, they probably were just pulling my chain, but
I was gonna say it sounds like a timeshare.
yeah, I think they just wanted to make it seem like it was some exclusive club to get in. Anyway, I got in.
Hmm.
And out of 40 students, I was one of 11, and I finished. But that's how I got into ultrasound. I just always remember the lady taking the machine out of her trunk. And it was so funny. I think the first time I had to get a machine,
Uh-huh.
it was the little laptop that you guys had to the DoorDash to me. And
Oh
I always
yeah. Oh
it
yeah. Oh
was like
yeah.
a full circle moment
Full
because
circle moment.
yeah, and then of course, naturally, when everybody gets into ultrasound, they always think, oh, the babies. But then, you quickly realize it's not just babies, it's everything. It's anatomy, physiology, physics, everything. And it was a tough program. I had my daughter, but I got through it and I loved it. And
I was gonna say that's quite interesting that you bring that up because number one, for anybody that is listening to this, you are not lying when you're talking about how many people get through the program. I remember that we were sitting in the room on the first day, and there were it was mostly women at that time, but there were three or four gentlemen in the
yeah,
class.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to go around and talk a little bit about why we were interested in doing ultrasound.
Hmm.
And so everyone had, their different stories. And when it got to all the gentlemen, each one of them said in, one way or another that they wanted to learn something easy and quick to start a business.
Oh,
And I will tell you that in a matter of a couple weeks, if that, all of them were gone.
gone. Yeah.
Gone. And I
Yeah.
remember our first assignment before we had even started the school and know anything, any of the terminology or know anything. We had to have already read chapter 6, which was the gallbladder. I remember
Hmm.
that very vividly because I had to take out a dictionary and every other word I had to look up. And so you had like echogenicity, hyperechoic, like all this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to survive. It was
Yeah.
very overwhelming. But the whole point
Yeah.
is, just like you mentioned, you were out of 40, 11 that made it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that says a lot. This is
Yes.
not
The
something
first,
easy.
the first, the first, like the physics. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
people don't realize how tech dependent we are as a modality.
Yes.
We create images. We have to know the physics behind creating an image.
Yeah.
So, there's a little meme going around right now about, oh, if you want to get into something quick and easy, you go into ultrasound. I'm like, really? We
Um,
are completely tech dependent modality. We have to do everything. So, like a lot of people don't realize that aspect of our job. And that's when I quickly realized, okay, I have to buckle down. Thankfully, I unfortunately was laid off, but it afforded me a good 18 months of not having to work and just focus on school. And that's how I was able to get through because it's intense.
It is intense. And it's not like just physics, it's applied physics
Right.
specifically for ultrasound.
Yes.
And yeah, you're right. Not only that, but the patients don't realize that we have to learn how to not only get the best image to give all the information to the doctors, but in a safe way,
Right. Right.
and they don't understand that that's all under our control.
Very much
Um,
so.
Maybe now with the new machines, there's a little bit of self-adjustment. The machine kind of, determines maybe the level of penetration,
Right.
and you have that ability to just kind of push a button and it tries to control that, but it still needs us. We still
It's
need to
still,
be able
yeah.
to do that. And so you're
Yeah.
100% correct about that. And that's not a test that's that people take and it's easy peasy. A lot of people have to take it over and over. Um,
Right.
I had to go after school. I actually had to fly to Chicago, and there was a gentleman. I don't know if he's still doing this, but he does a 3 or 4 day seminar, and it is specifically going over what you're going to need or likely need for your exam. And
Oh,
I went in it like I'm taking these things once
right.
because I don't have anything more in me.
Oh,
And
man.
I
Yeah.
worked overnight when I was in
Mhm.
school, and they didn't like that because you're right. You need all
Yeah.
the time you can.
Yeah.
It really is overwhelming. So good for
Man.
you. So you got into it. I like your story. There's some similarities to that. I like your story. So all right. So you graduate from school and you realize that you really don't know anything, right?
Yeah. Oh, man. My first job, like, I was like, I'm never gonna get this. I said,
It's
I'm never gonna
overwhelming.
get it was overwhelming. And then
Right.
a funny little story, but okay, so I was at a clinical site
Mhm.
and they wanted to hire me, and their HR department would not hire me because their HR had requirement 1 year experience. And of course, I didn't have 1 year experience. So even with the supervisors telling them they can hire me, the HR would not do it. So I ended up interviewing where I am now. And I got the job and I've been working here. And then as I was doing orientation here, the other job called me back. And they were like, we want you to come in, but we need you per diem overnight as a brand new tech.
Oh,
So
wow.
I didn't want to turn it down. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. My first week, I think I had an ectopic. They wanted me to do a pylorus. I'd never seen one done. I mean,
Mm,
it was wild, but when I tell you I learned so much because I had feet to the fire, I had to do it. I just had to do it. I was by myself, I had to do it. I mean, was it the best idea? Probably not. That hospital, but I learned so much there. So, it kind of molded me into being, the tech I am because I had no choice. I had to. I
right,
had to do
right.
it.
See, that's interesting that you bring that up because coming out of school without any experience, most people have already, while they're in school doing their clinical hours, have
Right.
already built some sort of relationship with the places that they are going to.
Yeah.
Um, and then still in that first 2 years, they're still kind of under the wing and they're never thrown by themselves. That just
Right.
doesn't happen. But it's hard. It's hospitals overnight. It's not for everybody. They
Oh
pay
man.
more, but you have to do everything and you have nobody else to count on. And
Right.
I'll say, even in my first job, I only had one other job before Soundwaves. I was there for almost 18 years, or 17 years, my apologies. There'd be times where I would have to pull out my book
Yeah.
and take a quick gander, like, ooh, this is familiar, but I let me look at this. But I
Yeah.
didn't feel too bad because our doctors do the same thing. You
Yes.
go into their
Yes.
room,
Yes.
all their books, like,
Yes.
it happens to everyone. You're not gonna, the whole point, I think, is to let people know that you go over everything and you have to really know what normal looks like. And
Right.
even when you find something that is not right and you can't put your finger on it right away, you have enough knowledge to be able
Yeah.
to find out more or
Right.
less or
Right.
guide them. So, yeah,
Yeah.
that's scary.
Yeah.
Wow.
Took
Wow.
about
Wow.
two,
Wow.
would you say 2 years? It took about 2 years for me to feel like, okay, I got this. Because
It
the
took me
first,
longer.
really,
Well, I was
I,
in
I
MFM.
can't see that for you. You're so knowledgeable.
No,
I don't
no.
know.
I would say in MFM, it took me
Oh, well, yeah.
5 years.
You,
5 years.
FM is a whole other,
It is, but once you know it,
yes. Yeah.
you will always be needed.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Yeah.
that makes sense. So,
Oh, yeah. Yes.
and
Yes.
and
Yes.
I had said in like the second podcast that I did for Soundwaves that the job that I had prior, the doctor that I worked with, one of the doctors that I worked there the whole time, he loves to teach. And so he really, like, he would always call me back. And sometimes it'd be very frustrating because you are busy and you're just trying to get
I
through the day,
know.
but he would call you back and call you back. And I'm grateful for it because he wanted to make sure that I wasn't just taking pictures, but I
Right.
understood
Right.
why I was taking, what I
Right.
need to see there, and what should be my next thought process.
Mm-hmm.
And that is really what it's about. That's what's important is you're given
Yes.
this tool. You have to think about all the possibilities on this baby, for example. And then when you
Mm-hmm.
start to see one or two things, now your mind has to go, all right, let me look for the rest
Right.
and see if we can narrow this down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although ultrasound on its own doesn't give you all the information, right? It's a
No.
diagnostic tool and it has to go in conjunction with other tests. But yeah, MFM is a whole other level. Sahira was talking about that as well. But I hear you, but still, what you put yourself through there, that's tough. That's really tough. And hospital, especially, I mean, the offices can get very chaotic as well. But when you're by yourself,
Yeah.
I mean, that really
It's
that prepared you for sound waves because you're by yourself.
yeah. Well, we for years there was only one tech. I do have a counterpart, but after 11, there's only two of us. It's because we have to cover two hospitals. But
Oh
yes,
wow, I didn't know
essentially
that.
we covered the pediatric hospital and the adult hospital.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, I do a lot of pediatric stuff.
That's
That
really
registry,
interesting.
that registry, that was the one registry where I said there's no way I passed. I said there's no way. I ended up passing, but I don't know. That was a difficult registry.
I imagine it is because
Yeah.
I've gone on site where I've seen it done, and for example, on the heads, like you really have to know the brain.
Oh man, the
Yeah,
head. When you do, we do BPD, we do the brain anatomy, but when you're doing a live,
yeah, that's different.
NICU baby about this big, it's just,
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah,
our actual Joe D techs that don't only do that, they can sweep through a head in probably 2 minutes, but it's tough because that's where it comes into play what you just said. If you see this, then you have to start looking for other things. What could this mean? And if you don't do it all the time or you're not really applying your knowledge, you might miss something. There might be something there you don't take the picture and you're throwing the whole story off. So,
I'm so glad you said that because even doctors have this idea that a sonographer is a sonographer and they should be able to scan anything.
no.
And that's just not true. I mean, I can't. I'm sorry. I was taught other, modalities, but um if you ask me now to do a complete abdomen and whatever, I can kind of do it, but I don't remember all the
Yeah.
values and what to look for and all the tricks. I haven't done that in years, almost 20 years. I
Yeah.
haven't done that. You can't throw me in a room and do that.
Well, we
So,
have radiologists that don't even they don't
oh,
even like to read ultrasound. So
yeah,
yeah.
that's a whole other thing, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, so I want to say that as far as when it comes to sound waves and women's care, all of us, this is what we know,
Yes.
right? This is what we
Yeah.
know, and that matters. That really matters.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh, God, you're bringing back lots of memories, let me tell you. One of the best teaching experiences I had, but I felt really bad for the patients. And they would put you in a room with a patient, and you could take 2 hours to do an anatomy because
Yeah.
there was no space for those patients. They would end
Yeah.
up in the hall. So the patients would just fall asleep. They're like, take as long as you need. But as a student, if you're like, oh, I need to find everything, you need that time. And
Yes.
most of the
Yeah.
time, you don't have that time. So
Yeah.
I'll always be grateful for, even though
Yeah.
I felt really bad for the patients because they were
Yeah.
mostly in the hallway. It can get quite crazy.
Yeah.
So, wow. So, how long has it been now that you've been doing ultrasound?
So this year is what, year 18?
Yeah, you're 1 year
Yeah.
behind me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Time flies, huh? It's
I know it doesn't
crazy.
even, it doesn't really seem like it.
Do you
Um,
um do you realize that it's getting maybe a little bit harder to do the same volume? Are you starting to get some aches and
um,
pains in your hands or your
Knock on
elbow?
wood, I have not had, I haven't had that yet. My shoulders, no. The only thing that ever happened to me, believe it or not, was after I had my baby, I had this carpal tunnel thing,
Yeah,
and they said it was related to pregnancy.
right.
But
So you've been okay so far.
so far, I don't want to jinx myself. So far,
No, no,
so
no.
far, yeah. I mean, like, if we have patients with larger body habitus, sometimes you may have like a little soreness for the moment, but I don't have any injuries. I haven't had any. That knock on wood.
That's good. I've
So
had
yeah,
especially after working through COVID in MFM, in the volume increased
yeah,
and the expectations of what we need to get for twins and triplets and such. And this was, you know, Monday through Friday, day in and day out,
right,
right? I started to notice that my tendons would become quite inflamed.
right.
I had ended up in the urgent care just to see if I had anything major, and all of it was inflammation.
Yeah,
But the pain could be excruciating.
yeah,
And then I don't scan as much as I used to because I just don't think I could, to be honest with you. But every once in a while, if I go to cover an office, if I don't have, something like I don't have arthritis, but if I wear a glove that kind of like, is like a type of arthritis glove or
Yeah.
something to kind of keep me from overextending, I will have that pain, and
Yeah.
that sucks.
I imagine MFM, if I did that solely or more than what I do, I think I probably would have those aches and pains. Some of the exams in the hospital, they can take here at the hospital, they do Accreta studies, and those can take hours examining them. And I can imagine that constant pressure is probably, yeah,
or
probably a lot on the limbs. So,
or even people that do cardiac, they do the
oh,
heart,
yeah. Yes.
because that's not easy for anyone
Yeah.
that's watching this. I love it. I mean, I think the heart is amazing, but
Yeah.
to scan it, first of all, we have to scan with your left hand if you're not
Did you do
left-handed.
echo too? You
Oh,
did
I
echo?
learned it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
wow.
I realized in my clinical sites that I physically would not be able to keep up.
You do it. Yeah.
It's just I don't have that kind of power in my left hand, and then that's really hard to
Yeah.
scan in between the bones. And then if you have anybody, woman that's big chested, or you have a gentleman with
Right.
extra weight, and I saw what that did to people.
Yeah.
I That was hard. I knew right away. I'm like, I don't have the
Yeah.
physicality to do this. The people that could, I was always amazed. But usually the guys, for them, I know there's women that do it, but I think more guys are drawn to that, and I think they can
Right.
physically handle it too
Right.
better,
Yeah.
I think. But
Yes.
wow, so you did all that, and then you'll have to tell me now that how did you discover sound waves? Like, where'd that come
Oh,
from?
I've had a little life change recently, in the last couple of years, and I was looking for some extra income. And a friend of mine, I don't know if she was working for you or she knew of you, and she sent me, it was Denise and Dennis had put out
A constant contact?
then they put they there was a position in Boca
Mm,
at the time.
right.
So I reached out and I interviewed with Denise, and I was able to, that was perfect for me. Unfortunately, that office didn't pan out because something else happened with them, but I stayed on as per diem, and it's worked out.
I'd say so.
Yeah, it's worked out for me. And I find now that I really enjoy GYN. The early OB and the GYN, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
And you
So,
know what? I'm sure too that because I found this for myself as well, that we're in a stage in our life where we can actually appreciate what women are going through,
right.
and you want to find them help. You want to find solutions to their problems because we can relate, right?
Yes.
It's kind of
Yes.
like when I was pregnant and I was an MFM, and I was saying that I was so grateful that I could watch my exams,
Yeah.
look at the images, and know with confidence, okay, everything's looking good. That's important to me. So the same in GYN. Um, but yeah, when you do MFM, you do some GYN, but not to the extent that
Yeah.
we do. So I had a lot of catching up to do as well.
Yeah.
100%. So what's your favorite thing about working in GYN?
Well, in the office setting,
Hmm.
you get the walkie-talkie patients, and I get to really talk to them. And, I get to understand, there's there's a lot of issues that, as women we can just help them with.
Right.
I can I had a patient one time, and she just kept talking about pain and this excruciating pain. And the minute I put the probe down, I knew an adenomyosis,
Yeah.
and I knew right away. So I took, I did the sweep, showed the bulbous uterus, I did all of that, and I felt like, okay, finally she will have some type of answer, because
Yeah.
for whatever reason, I guess this patient wasn't really like seeing the doctor, but she finally did. She came in, and now she'll have an answer. So it's good when you can piece the puzzle together, per se,
Right,
Right.
exactly. I refer
Or
to it as being like a detective, right? So they're going to tell
right,
you what they're going through, and then you start doing the search.
Or do you remember what was our big thing when you first trained me?
What was the big thing?
Polyps. I
Oh,
don't think I
polyps.
had ever seen them. Or maybe I was, and I don't know.
Oh,
But ever
that's
since you told me about
right.
polyps,
Yes.
and I've had these patients with this uncontrollable bleeding. As soon as I put that 3D probe, 3D rendering, I'm
Hmm.
like, there it is. There it is right there. A
Yep.
polyp. That's why they're bleeding like this. That's
Yep.
why and
100%.
I do emergency medicine ultrasound. So yeah, I might come across a polyp here or there, but it was you and sound waves. And then now I can never not see them.
And you don't realize how many there are.
Yeah.
Like it's very, very common. Yeah. And it's interesting because I just had a discussion with a doctor. I was covering an office, and I had noticed that if a sonographer just looks in the cervical area and it doesn't look very impressive, they don't put color flow on it. And
No,
we should always do that because
right. There's
bleeding can
polyps there.
come from there, right? But I
Right.
started to talk with this doctor, and he's like, I'm not quite impressed with, anything of the cervix, quite honestly. And I said, why would you say that? And he said,
Mhm.
well, because, sometimes we'll have vascularity and your eyes will be drawn to an area that you think is a polyp, but it really is just part of the wall, like an
Mhm.
irregularity of the cervical wall. And I said, well, sure, that can happen in the endometrium as well. You can have a hyperechoic area. It may even
Yeah.
appear a little vascular, but it's not really a polyp, but should still be investigated. And, I was telling him lots of times I've found polyps in the cervix, and sure
Yeah.
enough, that was the issue. So, isn't it just as important if you're not
Right.
finding anything in the endometrium and it's really bothering the patient that she's constantly spotting? But some doctors have a different idea. Like if it's in the cervix, as long as it's not too terribly big, they'll probably just leave it alone. If it's in the endometrium, it has to really be more than 1 centimeter. And that's true of anything. Polyps
Right.
in the intestines, anywhere. The measurement to go by is 1 centimeter and greater is
Okay. Yeah.
when they're more concerned and they might go in and remove something like that, right? But I remember I was a little surprised because I find lots of obvious. There are
Right.
there are many times where I'm not sure, so I'll just mention that there's increased
Yeah.
vascularity. There may or may not be something there,
Right.
just check it out type of thing. But I've found many obvious feeder
Right.
vessels and polyps.
Polyps
And
in,
also
yeah,
we're very
in the cervix.
vascular there too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I've never even before sound waves, I did not even know to look there because they were not concerned with that. Like you said, the doctors didn't seem concerned with it. But
Right. But it's
in the
concerning the
in
patient.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
In the office setting, we've had patients come in and they're like, and then finally they have an exam and then the doctor sees it. Well, here you have a polyp there.
And most of the time they
Um,
can remove it in the
right,
office because it's a
right there. Yeah.
cervix. Yeah.
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 It's just depending where. But I know. And that's the thing. I'm so glad that's changing for us that um, more and more doctors are paying attention to what the patients are saying and, at least making more of an effort to find what's going on or to give them an answer. And then from there, together, they can consider all the options because that's the thing that as long as you talk to patients, not make them feel um, uneducated or that they couldn't possibly understand the significance of what you're saying or not saying, right?
Right.
And really just lay out the facts for them. Um, the majority of them will understand if you're saying I'm spotting because of this, but it would cause more issues to try to remove it, then just kind of watch it.
Right.
If you tell them, they'll get it. Just let
Right.
them know because
Sure.
otherwise they're worried about so many other things. And if they
Yeah.
have family history, forget about it, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
that's where we as techs, we you for me, I like to give as much information as I can and do
Right.
with it whatever you'd like, right?
100%.
Um, if I see two loops of cord around a baby's neck, I'm taking pictures, I'm Dopplering that cord, I'm taking it. OBGYNs, they're not really concerned with two loops,
Yeah, because
but
the rule
I
is
still,
four or more.
right,
You have to see
but I
four or
still
more.
just take the picture. Hey,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. We just don't want to worry a patient
Right, right,
because the truth of the matter is cord is everywhere when you're looking at
right,
these babies,
right,
and it's very, I mean, it's obvious it's going to get around something or other,
right,
but when you have a true, just so you know, when you have a true situation and it's wrapped around a neck four times, then the BBP is going to be affected, right?
right.
The baby's
Okay,
going to be a little
yeah.
bit more lethargic,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's when you know it's a real problem. So that's kind of like the process that I was telling
yeah,
you about. Like you see something, okay, that's a possibility. Yes, 100% give them the information. But you start to look at other things. So, oh, I see this, but the BPP is 8 out of 8 and the baby
right,
seems to be doing well. It's
right.
it's not going to be an issue type of thing. So
And then the
yeah,
reverse, if you see a lethargic baby, then you have to put your thinking cap on. Okay, let me
oh,
check.
oh
Let me
yeah.
check. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know about you, a true lethargic baby. I've seen just, I can probably count on one hand over the years. Um, but I remember one very specifically where it just, everything in my being said, this is not good. This is not good. This is not good. And I told the doctor, and he was, a little, like kind of thinking it through. And I said, Doctor, I'm telling you. And she was term. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna send her to the hospital and see what they say. Sure enough, they delivered her right away.
Mm,
Yeah, that baby would not have lasted
good.
5 more hours. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. So when you see that, like when you really see it,
yeah.
you can tell the difference,
And do you
honestly.
ever have the moments where you're like, thank God I was the one scanning and I was diligent? I always have sometimes
100%.
these moments because
Yep.
let's say just in a case you have a newer tech, they may not have picked up on that or, just something.
Oh
And
yeah.
it just,
I 100% agree with you that
yeah,
yeah. That's why being reliable is extremely important.
yes,
You know
yes.
what I mean? I appreciate that of you. I appreciate that of you. You're very, very reliable. So I just want
Thank
everybody to
you.
know that. So if
Thank
they
you.
expect you in the office, you are not only there, you are there early. You've got your stuff set up. You've looked up your patients. Like you don't mess around. So we are grateful for you for that for sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I bet you're almost done with your break right now, but I could talk to you for hours.
Same here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so
Always
glad that
good
I
to
got to
catch up.
see you.
Yes,
Do you
yes.
have any last minute things you want to add to this at all?
Um, it's been a pleasure. It's been life-changing for me in many ways, coming on to the team. Um, and I look forward to expanding my knowledge. I'll get there.
I'll be here to help.
Yes. And I'm just grateful for all of you.
Uh, Ditto.
Thank you.
All right. Well, that concludes. Thank you so, so much for taking the
Thank you
time.
for
I hope you
having
have,
me.
of course, I hope you have an amazing rest of the night. Nothing crazy.
We'll
We'll
see, but
see.
wish
Oh
me luck.
no, you'll let me know, I'm
Positive
sure.
vibes, positive
Okay,
vibes.
positive vibes for sure.
Yes.
All right, I will
All right.
let you go. Bye.
Thank you.
Take
Looking
care.
forward to this episode and the follow and the upcoming. Okay. You're doing a
Thank you.
great job.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll send it to you, okay?
Okay.
All
Thank you. Have
right.
a good night.
Thank you too. Bye.